I'm Noah from American Muscle. Pretty much every car on the market at this point has a drive-by-wire throttle. This means the throttle is electronically operated, and typically there's a pretty noticeable delay between the pedal input and then the engine's throttle response. If you're wanting to get rid of that lag on your 11 to 19 Mustang, then this C&L Black Edition throttle controller could be a perfect fit for you. A throttle controller's main function is to get rid of that lag between your foot and the throttle opening. It does this by boosting the input signal and subsequently making the throttle much snappier. Most times you really won't believe how much more responsive and healthy your car feels after installing one of these guys. Now this throttle controller actually has 8 different modes that you can switch between as well. Those are going to be Comfort, Race, Sport, Eco, Normal, Anti-Skid, Intelligent, and Anti-Theft. Now all that being said, you really can get your Mustang dialed into exactly where you'd like it. So this is the Black Edition. That means this guy has all the normal functions that a regular throttle controller would have, but everything is buttoned up in this nice little black case that looks just fine attached to your dash where it's easily accessible. Having a clean looking interior is always a big deal for me, and having a throttle controller sometimes can be a little bit of an eyesore. Now with this guy being nice and sleek in black, it does blend right in and doesn't really look out of place. The C&L Black Edition throttle controller is going to set you back about $150 all said and done. Now I can speak from personal experience that that is a very small price to pay for how much of a difference this can make to the feel of your car. A throttle controller really makes a performance-oriented car shine, so the $150 this guy costs really can't steer you wrong in any way. Now onto the install. This throttle controller is fully a plug and play, and it's really easy to use and switch between the modes. Now one more thing to note is that the install is completely reversible. So when you unplug it, it actually doesn't leave any PCM codes. We're looking at an install time of about 20 minutes with a difficulty of 1 out of 3 wrenches. Now that's enough for me. Let's head over to the install bay and take a look at getting some better throttle response out of our Mustang.
Hi everyone. Today we're installing a throttle controller in our Mustang, so let's get started. All right, to install our throttle controller, it's a really simple process. It's all plug and play. On the controller itself, we've got 2 connectors here, and what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect the throttle controller on the throttle pedal. We're going to plug this into the throttle pedal, this end into the wire harness, and then we're going to run our wire to our actual control panel up underneath the dash by the steering wheel. It's a little difficult to get our camera in there, that's why we're explaining this now, but we'll get you taken care of so you can see exactly what we're talking about. So the first thing we need to do is disconnect our connector at the top of the throttle pedal here by lifting up on the red locking tab, pushing in on the release lever, and then just pulling up on the harness. Once you've got that done, we can go ahead and connect our throttle controller harness. And to do that, we're going to connect the piece with the red locking tab to the top of the throttle pedal. Push down on the red locking tab. And then we'll connect the other end of the harness to the factory harness. And again, you'll see that there's a red tab from the factory harness, and that's going to lock into our throttle controller. Press down on our red locking tab. And the kit does come with some zip ties, so you'll want to tape this up to some factory harness that's at the top, and you can zip tie that up there. Now we can go ahead and run the cable to the actual control module on the actual dash. All right, now that we've got everything hooked up, we can go ahead and run our cable to our control panel, and we're going to do that running the cable up underneath the dash trim here right up next to the steering column. And for our purposes, we're going to mount the control panel right here underneath the headlight switch. You can mount it, of course, anywhere you want. Just make sure that when you do run the cable, you're not interfering with any steering column or brake pedal or your clutch pedal, anything like that that could cut the cable or cause a problem later on. So we're just going to feed this up through and pull it through and go ahead and plug it into our controller. Now, once you've got that done, like I said, since we're mounting it underneath our headlight switch, always a good idea to use an alcohol pad. Clean the dash off. Make sure there's no residue from any kind of protectant or oils from your hands or whatever, any dirt. Clean that off. Then all we have to do is peel the red backing off of our control panel, press it onto the dash, and then you can pull any excess cord back underneath the dash, and then you can zip tie that up to make sure that it stays out of the way for future use. Now there are 8 different modes for this actual throttle controller. And not only do we have 8 different modes, we have 9 different levels in most of the modes. Some of them only have a single mode. So now we'll go ahead and show you how it actually works. So with the ignition on, you see we're at H1, level 1. Now H1 is your comfort mode. H2 is your sport mode. H3 is race mode. And then you have economy mode. And we have normal mode, which basically acts like the controller's not even there. Then you have your slippery conditions mode, or snow mode. Then we have intelligent mode, and it lets the controller itself determine how it's going to react based upon your driving habits. Next thing is lock, which basically disables your throttle to prevent, like an anti-theft device. So if we go back to comfort mode, as you can see by pressing the adjust button, we can change the level. Now the higher the number, the faster your throttle is going to respond. Now in the comfort mode, it's going to be a very smooth transition. It'll still be fast, but it's going to be a lot smoother. When you go to sport mode or race mode, your throttle response becomes much, much quicker and much more intense. And again, we have our 9 different levels here. Now, once you get to economy mode, it delays your throttle response a little bit to kind of make it easier to increase your gas mileage. And again, it's got 9 different levels. Normal mode, there is no adjustment to it. It just is what it is. Same thing with anti-skid mode or snow mode. There's no adjustment. It has one setting. Same thing with intelligent mode, and the same thing with anti-theft mode. And there's your operation of your C&L throttle controller. And that wraps up our review and install of the C&L Black Edition throttle controller for the 11 to 19 Mustangs. Thanks for watching, and remember, for all things Mustang, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.